guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you're wondering why the lighting is a little bit off, it's actually because we are experiencing a power outage. But I am so dedicated to my YouTube channel and getting my content up that I realized I need to get this video recorded before all of the daylight goes away. So I'm literally racing the clock right now. I hope you guys can bear with me. This is my new vlogging camera, so I'm really hoping that the lighting is really good on it. I think it has been pretty good, you know, from some of my old vlogs. So I'm hoping that the lighting will stay good even as the sun starts to go down. And it is a cloudy day outside, so that means I have even less daylight to work with. And this is just kind of me going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but you don't really realize how much you use something like electricity or your internet or even turning on the TV, turning on lights in your house until it's taken away from you. So I am very much more grateful now than I was before because I can't turn on any lights, the TV doesn't work, I have no internet, and luckily my camera battery is charged. I think I have 72% battery on my phone, but it's just crazy how much we depend on electricity and technology nowadays. I actually wrote down what I want to talk about today on a piece of paper. I can't even tell you the last time I did that. I normally type up my script and print it out. And while I do have battery on my laptop where I could have written out a script and typed it up, I don't have internet to wirelessly print that piece of paper. So, and I don't want to waste my laptop battery by having my screen open. So we're going old school today with my lovely piece of paper. And what I want to talk about today is something that I get asked a lot through email and on social media, and it's what is my advice to new or young writers. And I think this is a really great topic. It's a video I've wanted to make for a while. I don't really know why I haven't made one yet, but I was really thinking about it a lot today, and especially since I don't have access to the internet or anything right now, I was like, this would be a really good video topic. So I kind of brainstormed, I guess, my pieces of advice, and I came up with 7 things that I want to share with you guys. So without further ado, let's get into my 7 pieces of advice for new and young writers. My first piece of advice is to read. Read everything you can possibly get your hands on. Read all genres. Read books for different target audiences. The more you can expand your knowledge base early on, the better off you're going to be. I learned a lot of what I know from simply just reading books in the genre that I wanted to write, and also genres that maybe I wasn't really interested in writing in. It's just helped me learn how stories flow, things that maybe I like and don't like, or things that I want to include in my story and don't want to include in my story. So by reading, you're actually doing some research for yourself as to how maybe you want to write your stories and what you want them to look like. So I think the earlier you can get to reading and the more you can read, I think the better off you're going to be as a writer, because they do say that reading is the best research for a writer. Which leads me into number 2, which is to do your research. Research as a writer includes reading books in different genres, like I just mentioned in the previous step. Or you can also read writing advice books, you can watch YouTube videos, you can take courses at school like creative writing courses, or really focus in on your language arts and English classes. The more research you can do early on, the less headache you're going to have down the road. Not even just with the writing process, but also the editing and revision process, and then also the publishing process if you're thinking about going the self-publishing route. The more research you do and the more information you can get your hands on, the better off you're going to be. Things that once seemed scary and impossible won't seem scary and impossible. Take it from someone who's done a lot of research. When you first dive into it, it's absolutely terrifying and you think, how did anyone ever do this in the past? How is this even possible? Like, how can someone write a book, edit it, revise it, publish it, and market it, and do all of that? And I've done all of that. I can tell you it was not an easy journey. There are a lot of trials and errors and a lot of mistakes to be made, but I don't mind making mistakes because that's how I learn, that's how I grow, and I can guarantee you I have not repeated any of those mistakes with each book that I release. So I want to give some recommendations for some books that I picked up when I first started writing and really wanted to get serious about this. And I have quite a few of them. There's like 8 of them sitting next to me. So I'm gonna try to go through these pretty quickly. But I do want to give some recommendations so that if you're, I mean, there are so many different writing advice books out there, and these are the ones that I have found have been so helpful for me. So the first one is your first novel. If you are a new writer or even a young writer, I would highly recommend getting this book. This is by Anne Rittenberg and Laura Whitcomb. You can see I still have some of the pages marked up here. It's under the writing reference section in Barnes & Noble, or I'm sure you can also find this on Amazon. This book was a lifesaver for me. If you really want to start from the bare bones and talk about plot structure, let's see, what are some of the chapters, just so I can give you a better idea. So the first chapter is preparations, chapter 2 is beginning to write, the bones of your story, fleshing out your story, making your story vivid, being unforgettable, the nuts and bolts, repairs, making it shine, preparing to be read. And then it actually has a part 2 which goes into publishing your novel. So if you want to go the traditional route and get a literary agent, there's information on that. So there are so many different chapters, but this was like my Bible when I really started getting into the alpha drive and wanting to publish it and fully write it, revise it, get it ready to go. I highly recommend your first novel. I still reference this book to this day. The next recommendation I have is Story Trumps Structure. This is by Stephen James. Again, you can see I have some pages marked here. I would say these two really go hand in hand. So if you're a new or a young writer, I would buy your first novel, and this really goes into each piece of your novel, but this one really focuses on the actual story. So I think this is kind of goes into more detail than your first novel does about your story and your plot and the whole structure and the flow of everything, as well as character development. So I highly recommend Story Trumps Structure as well. And really, if you can get both of these together, I think you're gonna be really well off. Next, I've talked about The Writer's Idea Thesaurus by Fred White. I think I've mentioned this in probably 3 or 4 of my other videos. This is such a great book to have handy, just sitting by you while you're writing or on your bookshelf. You really can just open up to any page and read something, and it's supposed to kind of spark an idea or inspiration for you. I always keep this by me because even if you don't use the exact idea that is listed in the book, sometimes your mind will go off on a tangent after you read one of these, and it just is really helpful, and it gets your mind going. It gets those creative juices flowing, and that's exactly what you want. So another really good one. Next is The Breakout Novelist by Donald Mass. I will be honest, I haven't read this whole thing, but I have gotten halfway through it and I really, really liked it. It says how to craft novels that stand out and sell. Again, this is another really great book. I mean, it's called the must-have reference for novel writers. So I guess this is if you have written a story and maybe you're like, I don't know if it's vivid enough. I don't know if I need to really add more into it, or what can I do to deepen the plot or make my characters even more believable, or just something like that, or add more plot twists and subplots. So I think new and young writers could really utilize this book, but I do think if you're someone that has a draft that's been sitting in your desk drawer collecting dust, this might be a great book for you to pick up and rework that draft to make it something really great. The next book I would recommend is The Complete Guide to Self-Publishing. This is by Marilyn Ross and Sue Collier. I don't know how to say her last name, but this is everything you need to know to write, publish, promote, and sell your own book. This is one that I reference all the time, and I guess this is more so when you are actually in the publishing phase. If you do decide to self-publish, this is a really great book. I feel like this is kind of like my Bible. It is my reference guide, and I love it. Only 2 more, I promise. This one's called Revision and Self-Editing for Publication. This is the 2nd edition, and this is by James Scott Bell. Again, this kind of goes along with the Breakout Novelist book, this one. These are more so if you already have a draft and you're trying to make it into something really, really great and a book that's going to sell. These 2 books are more about revising and getting it to that level. So I would definitely recommend these 2 books together, one or the other. Personally, I like the Breakout Novelist a little bit more, but this Revision and Self-Editing gets really more into the technical side of things, so that can be really good if your technical writing skills aren't really up to par. And the final book is Red Hot Internet Publicity. This is by Penny Sanseviri. Penny is awesome, love her. I worked with her on marketing campaigns for the Alpha Drive, and she is awesome. So she wrote this book, and I started reading it, and I absolutely love, there is such golden nuggets of advice in this book, especially for marketing. Again, this isn't really for writing it, but obviously after you write it, revise it, edit it, and if you decide to self-publish it, and even if you don't self-publish and traditionally publish, I feel like you still need to know how to market and promote your work. So internet publicity is a huge thing. It's something that a lot of people need to know. even people like me without internet or electricity right now. So I would highly advise that you buy this book sometime down the road. So yeah. As far as other YouTube channels that I watch for, you know, kind of to do my own research, I watch Jenna Moressi's channel. Vivian Reese is one of my really good friends. I also watch her channel, and I watch Kim Chance's channel as well. So those are 3 other YouTubers that I also watch. I love watching their videos and kind of seeing their take on things because everyone has a different perspective and a different view. And so even, you know, as a writer, someone who's written 4 books, oh my gosh, really 4 books? Yeah, someone who's written 4 books, I'm still learning from other writers and their research and, you know, the things that they've done. So I really just don't think you can ever stop learning. I think you should always want to be learning because that's how you're going to grow and that's how you're going to get better. Number 3, for new and young writers, and this is also for seasoned writers, I would say to forget the naysayers. There are going to be a lot of people on your journey that maybe think, why would you want to be a writer? How can you really make a full-time career out of that? You're going to be living in a dump somewhere, making, you know, next to nothing and eating scraps and just not living a very good life. And maybe that's true. Maybe there are a lot of starving artists out there, but there are also quite a few very successful and famous authors. And so who's to say that you can't be one of them? So yes, there will be a lot of people on your journey that may try to put you down or tell you your dreams are silly or to be serious and focus on something more realistic. I would say to forget them. Don't listen to them. At the end of the day, it's your dream and your goal and what you want to achieve. Those people really have nothing to do with your dreams and what you want for yourself. So just forget about them. And if they're not going to support you and your dreams and the things you want to do, then maybe that's the type of person that you don't really want to have in your life anyway. So I say forget the naysayers, but number 4 is, but don't drop out of school. So forget the naysayers and do what you want to do, focus on your dream and make it a reality. But I do want to mention just to not drop out of school, especially if you're a young writer. School is incredibly important. You learn a lot, not only about yourself, but just in social situations. You're learning a lot in terms of curriculum. You're also writing a lot, like writing essays. It might seem stupid to be writing an essay on Abraham Lincoln or something, you know, for a history class, but really every time you write, you're honing your skills. And so school is just very, very important. I don't think anyone should drop out of school to pursue a writing career. I think that you can definitely do both. I think that you can be in school and also write in the evenings or on weekends. But school is a place where you learn, and even if you're not interested in writing a paper in history class, you're still writing something, and that writing is going to, like I said, hone your skills. It's going to make you a better writer. You're going to learn more, and that's really, really important. My 5th tip is to have a clear goal, and this is something I talk about in a lot of my bi-monthly goal videos. I'll link the most recent one down below because I actually talked about how to crush your goals in 2017. So I think that's a really good video because it has a lot of tips and tricks and things that I do to help me achieve my goals. But if you don't have a clear goal for yourself in your writing world, then it's going to be really hard to actually become a writer. I would recommend making a clear and concise goal as to exactly what you think yourself as a writer looks like, what it should look like. What's your time frame? Make sure you give yourself a deadline. If you want to write a book, then make sure you make a concrete plan with measurable actions to get there. And again, in that bi-monthly goals video I just did for January and February, I have some really good tips and steps in order to do that. I don't want to repeat them here because I already made a video on that. So I will link it down below. So make sure you go check that out if you haven't. My 6th tip is to make a writing schedule. So I do think it's important as a young or new writer, in order to hone your craft, you really need to be writing every single day, or at least 5 to 6 times a week. They say practice makes perfect, and while I don't believe in perfect, I do think that practice makes for a better writer, just as practice makes for a better anything. The only way you're going to get better and feel more comfortable with your writing is if you write every day or as much as possible. I would recommend making a writing schedule for yourself, whether it's writing short stories. Maybe you can aim to write 1 short story every 2 or 3 days, or even if it's writing in a journal, making lists, that can even count as a form of writing. Just something to keep you moving, typing, writing, whatever it actually is. Just keep going, keep the words flowing, keep your brain going through the motions. I feel like it'll just make things a lot easier when you actually sit down to write a huge novel. And last but not least, tip number 7 is to find a writing mentor. I think if you can find someone that you look up to or inspires you or motivates you, I really want everyone to aspire to be a better version of themselves, but if there's someone out there that inspires you and that's what's going to fuel your motivation to get to where you want to be, then by all means, look up to that person, be inspired by them, reach out to them, whatever it may be. Having a mentor can be really beneficial because anytime you have a question or hit a bump in the road, you have someone that you can reach out to that you know is seasoned and experienced, that wants to help you and cares about you and your work. They will help push you to be better. They will criticize you, constructive criticism, in a good way that they know you will take it well and not get offended by it. So having a mentor and someone that you really know well and that you trust is going to be such an instrumental piece to your writing journey. Did I make it? It's still light outside. I can see myself in my camera lens. So that's a very good thing. So there you have it, 7 tips to help new and young writers on their path to becoming an author. I hope you enjoyed the content today. If you did, please thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Both of my books, The Alpha Drive and The Order of Omega, are available for purchase on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, The Book Depository, and Books A Million. You can also order signed copies. All of the links are listed below. I will be attending BookCon June 3rd and June 4th this year in New York City. I will have a table where I'll be selling and signing copies of my books. So if you're going, I would love for you to comment down below and make sure you stop by because I would love to meet you in person. I have teamed up with Audible, the premier provider of digital audiobooks with over 180,000 titles to choose from, to give you guys some free stuff. If you go to audibletrial.com/Kristen Martin Books, then you can get a free audiobook download and a free 30-day trial for their service. My books are not yet available in audiobook format, but this is something I'm working on for the future. I did open up a Society6 store where you can get some #authorlife goodies such as pillows, mugs, laptop cases and sleeves, and a lot more. Make sure you head on over to society6.com/author Kristen Martin to check it out. I will also leave the link in the description box below. If you're not already following me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat, make sure you do that for daily writing inspiration and advice, as well as to stay up to date on price promotions and any giveaways that might be going on. If you have any questions or anything you'd like me to talk about in one of my next videos, feel free to tweet at me at @AuthorKristenM, or you can leave a comment down below. You can also ask a question or post a comment anonymously on my Ask Me Anything page on Tumblr. Again, all the links are listed below. Thank you so much again for watching. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel on your way out. I post new videos on Tuesdays. I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hardy! Hardy, come here, Charles. Charles. Sweet baby. Got your ears all being so funny. Want to read a book? You need glasses. I missed you today. I missed you. Oh, what's that? What is it? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Baby, come here. Hi. I love my babies. What's happening? I just checked the map for our electricity. It's 3:30 and the power is not going to be back on until 7:30. I need to go find some candles because it's about to get real dark in here.